parachute initiative in large things too. Okay, so in each one of these, I've also got an example. Oh, my picture here is of the same street that I showed you a second ago. So that tsunami hit March 11, 2011, this year. And this is that same street, June 2011. So that's, what, 3 months later. So you can see that these people had a choice. That man standing in the street in that picture a second ago, where it seemed like life was crashing all around him, how could it possibly get better? This is that same street 3 months later. So I think it's important in your own life to think of that same thing. You know, man, things seem really bad right now. How could they possibly get it any better? This is 3 months later. Seems like it's off the way.
Think about how many volunteer hours went into that.
Exactly. You got to move a whole boat. So the other thing I tried to do is put a picture of a business leader that I respected that encompassed this trait. And so I'm also going to throw candy at you if you can name this person. This is probably the hardest one. It's not Walt Disney, by the way. A lot of people thought it was Walt Disney. But anybody, any guesses? Anybody? Alright, this is the toughest one. I like this story because it encompasses kind of where we are now in our time. This man started out driving a taxi, didn't work for him, quit within a day. Then hauling lumber, and then selling shoes. He failed at all three. He later then hitchhiked from Georgia to Florida. Again, not recommended today, it's just like it's a long time. And he started working as a janitor in a grocery store. He then built himself up and became pretty successful in the grocery store, only for the grocery store to get bought out. He sat down with the new management. The new management fired him, didn't want anything to do with him. He was then also broke at the time, and it was the start of the Great Depression. That's why it's black and white. And so he had a choice to be a victim or a victor at that point in time. Like we all do when bad things happen. He chose to overcome it. He went and borrowed $2,000 from the bank, and he put a grocery store exactly next door to the one that fired him and started competing. And from that he learned a lot of experiences, and he worked to make sure he put customer first and innovate. He focused on innovating, and he added some wrinkles that the other store didn't have. And today he has built up a chain of grocery stores, over 1,000. Anybody?
Yeah, founder of Publix.
There you go, founder of Publix. George Jenkins is his name. And Publix had $25 billion of sales last year. That's over 1,000 stores, one of the largest private held companies in the industry today. And it reminds me a lot of today, because economic conditions are tough out there. And so a lot of people look to blame that, and he could have too, because the Great Depression was pretty rough as well. But he took that as an advantage and to overcome that, and today he has a very successful chain of grocery stores as his legacy. So that's an example that I often think of when things seem tough. All right, here's my next picture. So this encompasses and resembles my second point. It's a train track, so who can tell me or guess what I'm picking up from this picture? Anybody? It could be.
You crash and you always get back on track.
That's true. That is a good point. And I think that kind of goes along with the last one. What I was picking up here is the guardrails. When you're going over a bridge, you've got guardrails there. And my second point is take initiative to establish guardrails in your life. Now, I'm a pretty good driver. I have never had a ticket in my life. I've come close a couple times, but I've never had a ticket. But I have hit a guardrail. Honest to goodness. I was messing with the radio, I got distracted, and I hit the guardrail. And the guardrail helped. Kind of wrecked my car a little bit on the side, but I hit a guardrail. And so from that point, when I see guardrails, I think of this point. Because I'm a good driver. But even the best drivers make mistakes at times. or they need some help along the way. And that's what the guardrail gave me, and that's what my point is here. You've got to identify your weaknesses and put controls in your life to help you overcome them. And there's lots of different ways of doing that, and everybody's weaknesses might be different. So let's talk about that some. If you're weak in math, which as an actuary might be hard to believe, but if you are weak in math, what is some controls or help you can put in your life to take initiative to help overcome that? Anybody?
A calculator.
That would help. What else? A tutor. Exactly. What about if you are a procrastinator, which I sometimes could be? What would help you to put controls in your life to help with that?
Setting like goal dates for things to be accomplished.
Exactly. Short-term goals. If you break the project up into short-term goals, then you're not waiting to do everything in the last minute. All right, what about afraid of public speaking? A lot of people are afraid of public speaking in the business world. Really hinders you. What is something you could do to help with that?
Talk in the mirror.
That's right.
Talk in the mirror.
Practice. You know it. Throw yourself out there. What's the worst thing you could do if you signed up for debate at your school? I mean, you might not make the team, but at least you've got experience of practicing. Just like what you were saying, Andre, of, throwing yourself out there and practicing and signing up for the poetry team. What's the worst that could happen? At least you have more experience that could help you in life and in the business world. Second point is surround yourself with people you wish to become and bring out the best in you. I mean, that's especially true in the business world. If you're wanting to succeed, you've got to make sure you're on a team that you're comfortable with and that you admire, both ethically and that you want to become. Someone that can mentor you, which is my last point. I dare you to take initiative to seek out an accountability partner or a mentor that will provide you honest feedback and a positive example to follow. And the reason I put that in the initiative side is that's just like playing soccer. That doesn't happen usually automatically. Just like the ball doesn't usually happen by me that I can kick it. A lot of times someone doesn't approach you and say, hey, I want to mentor you. It takes you finding someone, usually that you're close to, that knows you, that you look up to, that you approach and say, hey, look, can I meet with you once a week, once a month to eat lunch? Can I text you when I have a problem? I'm trying to use more modern lingo here. Can I call you if there's something that I want help with? You've got to take that initiative, because oftentimes it doesn't happen. Same thing with me. I've got a group of guys that I meet with once a week. They're business leaders, and they help me when there's a problem that I can go forward to them, bring it forward to them, and they can give me honest feedback. They can tell me, Scott, you're way out of line here. Or, Scott, you did the exactly right thing. Just get it out. You need people like that in your life. Those are the guardrails that are going to keep you focused. And I think taking initiative and finding that on your own is something we all have to do. So my example of this is this next person. I think this one is easier. Anybody?
He's the coach of the Colts.
The Colts, that's right. I'm going to throw another candy bar at you. I missed Fox. But yes, as a Jaguar fan, I respect this guy a lot that he beat the Jaguars so many times. This is Tony Dungy. He coached Tampa Bay, and he obviously coached Indianapolis for so many years. I respect Tony for a number of reasons. He's a great NFL coach. First coach to take his team to the playoffs 10 consecutive years. I don't think that'll ever happen again in the NFL. He played in the Super Bowl, and then he coached a victory in the Super Bowl. And then, more importantly, he had a legacy of quiet confidence. And he wasn't a screamer and a yeller, but he led his team with a quiet confidence that people learned to respect. He's written a number of books. So if you love leadership books, you should check them out. The ones I noted down here were Uncommon. That was the one that I focused on, that I really got a lot out of. Mentor Leadership is another one that he does excellently at. But what he acknowledged